Mino Lion Media presents Business First.
Hi all, and welcome to a new episode of Business First with Sonia Aline. I am your host, and this week we are revisiting partnerships. And we've had a couple of folks come on and talk about the value, the challenges that they have endured and thrived through with their partnerships. We've talked mostly to family members. We had a brother and sister from the Hip Hop Closet, and we had a married couple talk about what it was like to live together and work together. And so today we actually have two longtime friends who have come together to create a company called Creator, the creative lifestyle brand. And so today we welcome Shay Leonora and Josh Reed.
Hey,
Hi.
Sonia.
How are you?
I'm good. I just left New York this weekend and spent some time with Shay, got some face-to-face with my favorite person. So I'm doing good.
Aw. Yeah, I actually got to hang out with you all this weekend. And Shay, I'm sorry, Josh said hello, but welcome, Shay.
Well, thank you. He said we are good. So he speaks for both of us a lot of the time. So, We're good. I'm good.
That's one of the things I wanted to talk about too, because I actually did a little research on partnerships, and one pair actually said that sometimes it's really easy to blend your identities and blend everything together, and you can end up just automatically thinking for the other person. I know you all live in two different states, but do you find that happens a lot when you're working together?
Yeah, it does happen pretty often in many circumstances. I know him pretty well, but at the same time, it's important not to overthink for him, because when you feel you know someone so much, you tend to feel like you want to answer for them sometimes, or you think what you know what they're going to say or how they're going to respond. But you have to kind of give them that space to, even though you think you just let them have their moment to, speak for themselves.
I think for me, I know Shay so well that I know in certain situations how she will react. I don't necessarily speak for Shay. Shay and I come from completely different worlds, but we've made our own world. Mm-hmm. And I know how she'll react in certain situations. I can tell by her little smiles, even when she eats, she quivers her lip a little bit. Those are the notices that I pick up on her. So I think knowing somebody, you kind of think that you know what they're going to think, but for the most part, I can pretty much predict how she'll react in certain situations. She'll either, turn quiet if she's a little uncomfortable when I put her in a position that's maybe a little more avant-garde. But I think you do pick it up. But I think the best part about really our relationship, Shay's and I's, is we are still individuals, but we enjoy each other so much because we come truthfully at each other and we're not afraid to say what's really on our minds to each other. So for us, when we come together, I could be like, I'm not afraid to ask her any question. And she doesn't come back with anger or resentment towards me or anything. She comes with her truth. And I think that's what I like. So I guess I can feel what she's going to react to more than speaking for her.
Well, I would guess that Shay does this really well because, in full disclosure, she's also my partner for our business Storytellers, Words, Images, Magic. And so I don't know. She's cheating on you just a little, Josh. But I haven't known Shay as long. For the brand that she shares with Josh, Shay, what do you think it is about you that partners well, and particularly in business?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I think it starts off with being passionate about a project, right? Because it's interesting that with both you and Josh, it started off as friendship, genuine friendship, true friendship, where we don't judge each other. And we're open to each other and feel comfortable. And I can say the same for both of you. Feel comfortable talking to each other and sharing opinions and feelings without feeling threatened or judged, right? And it goes both ways. I think so. Then after that, when you develop these strong friendships, you start seeing similar genuine interests and passions. So with Sonia, we love communication and branding. And interestingly enough, you know how the universe kind of brings people together? The same way you and I love communication, branding, and all that kind of stuff, Josh does too, because he's a graphic designer and he's in that same space. But when it comes to storytellers, we both had this, like we naturally spoke about these things. We naturally spoke about brands. And that's how Storytellers came about. With Josh, we've always loved creativity and creating. And with him also, we love being together. Like genuinely, we enjoy that. And we had the same things in common, same passions, same interests. And that's how we ended up being in business together. So it's pretty interesting being in this position and looking at the similarities of the relationships with you and with Josh and how the businesses came about. They came about in the same way.
So Josh, you mentioned earlier that you two come from two separate worlds. So as much as you share a lot in terms of the creative aspect of your relationships, you know, where you are socially and culturally are very different. Tell us a little bit about your background, Josh.
Let's see. I grew up in Detroit, middle class, hardworking neighborhood, 99% white Catholic, on the suburbs of Detroit. I found a love for art. Since I was little, my mom used to take me out and we would go sit in the fields and we would paint barns, you know, and she would be like, and I'd get like a little frustrated or whatever. And she goes, baby, nobody knows what that barn looks like. So it doesn't matter. You can mess up all you want. So I grew up with a very free, loving mother and father, kind of hippie-ish. I don't know if they'd really like me saying that, but they are kind of. But, you know, both my parents were teachers, so education was a big thing for me. And, you know, as I grew older, in the community that I lived in, I was accepted by my friends, but wasn't fully accepted because of my sexuality. So for me, I knew I couldn't stay to truthfully be who I'm supposed to be in life. So I moved to Atlanta, went to art school there, and that's where I met Shay. And I mean, to tell you the truth, I probably wouldn't have graduated college without Shay. Crying in a computer lab when you're working on Photoshop 1, where you can't go Command Z, you lose all your work after 8 hours, and you're bawling. And Shay would just, in her British accent, oh, it's okay, Josh, we'll go back in tomorrow morning. Like, and she would just kind of like pick you up. And I'm telling you, an African smile is the best smile in the world. In my opinion, it got me through college. So, and then from there, I went into fashion, well, publications first. So my first job out was doing apartment guides and new home guides for California, Oregon, and Washington. And from there, I had my own company for a little bit, and then I went into fashion for about 10 years, working in eyewear fashion, doing photo shoots. You know, it wasn't a bad gig. Got to go to Miami, Puerto Rico, California, Fashion Week, and all that stuff. So it was a great experience. And now I'm an art director for a plumbing company, and I'm doing the creator thing with Shay. So that's kind of here and now. And
so Shay, tell us a little bit about your background and your African smile, the orientation of that.
It feels so special.
See, it's a beautiful smile. Can you see? Look at that smile.
It is.
It's genuine.
Thank you. I grew up in Zimbabwe, in Harare to be specific. Yeah, I guess, you know, when you look back on your upbringing, it makes you think a lot of things, right? So my parents got divorced when I was young. And my dad at the time was a lawyer, then he became a judge. My mom moved to Mozambique when I was about 11, maybe 10. She got a job in the United Nations. So that's pretty much the separation thing. So I didn't grow up in like a cookie cutter perfect home with mom and dad. But I do remember that I always loved painting and drawing and arts. I spent a lot of time with coloring books. I always enjoyed that. And then I always dreamed of going to America. I figured I would be working for a big fashion magazine like Vogue and Cosmopolitan. I used to sit and flip through those magazines and dream of working somewhere in, you know, California or Hollywood and walking down Fifth Avenue. And what's interesting is, you know, they say be specific about your visions and your dreams and your manifestations. I did get to work on Fifth Avenue, but I ended up working for a business magazine, Black Enterprise. So it wasn't wrong, but I was on Fifth Avenue living the dream. I got there. I just wasn't specific. So, so I went to school in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I was there for a year, and my cousin lived in Atlanta, and she was like, oh, there's so much going on here, because I was always bored. I was always cold. And she was like, come to Atlanta to visit. So I went to Atlanta to visit, and I never went back to Grand Rapids. So I found the Art Institute of Atlanta, and that's where I met Josh. And yeah, of course. And I was at the Art Institute, graduated, couldn't find jobs. It was so hard to find a job. They promised all this 99% employment right out of college. Yeah, didn't work out quite that way.
Literally, Shay and I bartended for another year after college.
What year was this?
2003.
Right. Okay.
So that was right after
was a tough year economically.
And
that's right.
The recession hit. So, people were losing jobs left and right. Shay and I we both were like, why did we even go to school?
Because it was hard to find a job. So then I had my oldest daughter, Michaela. Then I moved to New York. And when I got to New York, I worked for a small design agency, 718. That was my first real graphic design job. It was really small, a woman from Colombia and three other people. Then after that, I applied for a job at Black Enterprise, and that's where I met Miss Eileen. And so it's interesting where life takes you when you sit back and reflect. But that's pretty much it. And then, Josh and I were always in touch. Years later, I started talking to him about, Creator, coming up with these designs. It started off with just T-shirts, like apparel. And I would show him the ideas. He loved them. He gave me feedback. I think we were partners before we became official partners. But anyway, I'm going too far. You asked me about my background. That's my background. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did want to ask about how you all connected, because I know that you had created Creator, and you were working through all the details. At what point did you say, or did you introduce the idea? At what point did you all decide that, we could do this together and we could do it well together?
I don't think I was ever really planning on being a part of Creator, to tell you the truth.
I wasn't planning on him being a part of it either, to be honest. I talked to you about it. I didn't think that, if someone said you and Josh were going to be doing Creator together, I'd be like, really?
No.
Oh, in what capacity? So I would share ideas with him, and I was showing him all the designs of all the T-shirts I was doing. And he was like, I like this. I don't like this. This is cool. Maybe try this. And I'd send him the files, and he'd, edit some of the stuff. And then, in talking to him and showing him the stuff, I started feeling like something was missing, and I just didn't know what it was. So then I knew there needed to be more to it than just a clothing line. It just seemed like it needed more substance. So then that's when, I'm talking to Josh on the phone. Josh, you want to tell them your side of the story?
Yeah. I would basically she's caught you up to the point where, we were sharing work and she was showing me stuff and I was supporting her and, saying, try this design, pushing here, pushing there, and, editing with her and stuff like that. Just as friends would do. And I was driving home from Michigan. I think I had just left one job and I was on vacation for a month in Michigan. And I was driving back and I was listening to this podcast called The Good Life Project. Have you heard of that, Sonia?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't listened to it, but I have heard of it.
Wonderful storytelling, wonderful program about, if you're into storytelling, you need to check this out. And I was listening to one of their programs and it was talking about going for it. Whatever that idea is, whatever that passion is, just going for it and how to even go for it. And I called up Shane. I was like, I'm driving, I think I was in Ohio or something, driving back to Atlanta from Michigan. And we sat and we talked for almost the rest of the ride home, which was 7 hours. And I was like, well, we could do this. You could get interviews for artists to come in. You get them to wear the shirt. And, this is a brand that you wanted to build. This is what you wanted to do. And then we kept on talking and talking. And she's like, and then we started calling people while we're on the phone together to see if they'd interview with us and just getting those doors started. And I think that's when Shay was like, you need to do this with me.
No,
and I never.
No, Josh, I think that's when you said, Shay, no, you said, Shay, we should do a podcast. And I was like, a podcast, because he's into podcasts. To be honest, I'm not big on podcasts. I really don't listen to podcasts. He sends me 20 million podcasts all the time. And I honestly don't listen to them. I want to. I really.
She's going to listen to this one, though, but that's okay.
This one. I'm just being honest. I can't be anything else. But I will listen to this one. But I'm not a podcast person. But Josh will listen to podcasts all day. While he was here in New York, he was listening to podcasts while we're working. And he's like, now I'm going to make you listen to a podcast. And I was like, it's fine. I do when you're with me. But anyway, so so he was like, let's do a podcast. So I was like, you know what? I could, get into it. It's not something that I'd ever thought of. I never imagined doing a podcast. And that's how we decided to partner. And from then on, that was it. And yeah.
You did miss a point on that story, though, Shay. I never wanted to be in front of the camera.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always said, I'll let you do the interview. I'll set up the people. You'll interview. I'm more of what you call behind the scenes. Like that's my career path has been behind the scenes, publications, photo shoots, videos. I'm always one behind directing everything. I wouldn't personally have the confidence to do it without Shay.
I couldn't do it without him because he was the missing part.
And so break down for the audience, what do you think your strengths are and what do you think the other person brings to supplement that and to strengthen what you have?
I think Shay brings a very analytical, not analytical, but just she can be laser focused on how things are, where I have 1,000 ideas. We fly all over the place. She's very good at, let's keep it on the brand. This is a good idea, but we need to redirect it this way to keep it on brand. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like I'll have all these ideas, but she can take my ideas and make them fit so they align with the brand instead of just being ideas. I think she's very good at communicating out how things are going to go. And I feel like she's very good at branding. I mean, she's probably the best person I know in branding. She thinks about the brand as a person and what that person would be and how they would act, how they would be most comfortable and also shown in the best light. Whether that be fun or serious or whatever, she's very good, and she's very good for eyes of detail. Where I like to just produce, and then I edit at the end, kind of like Ken, cut it up together.
Well, I mean,
all right, Shay, I was gonna say, would you agree with that? And what is your assessment of Josh's strength?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I just always feel that Josh doesn't give himself enough credit because I see so much greatness in him in the sense that he is a connector of people. There's no way you can take Josh where he does not get along with people. Like for me, on the show part, I like the idea of bringing people on, interviewing people, but there's something about me where I'm not a connector like Josh. Like I connect with those that I know and those that I'm comfortable with. Josh connects with everybody. There's something about him that's so magical that you can take him anywhere and he'll meet anybody and he makes everyone feel seen, heard, like valuable. He sees people in a way that most people don't see other people. So that is something that I'm always in awe of. Like I watch him all the time interacting with people and I'm like, wow, he's just amazing. And then he is super creative. So I'm good in branding because I think I'm more uniform in my thinking and more, I don't want to say rigid because I don't like to think of myself as rigid.
I would say that you're rigid.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that, but I'm more like structured in a sense. He is, but he's very creative. He thinks outside the box. He tries new things, which I absolutely love. He comes up with ideas that I would have never imagined, but they're like really great. And then he's good at scheduling. He's good at a lot of stuff. He's good at thinking ahead of things. He's good at planning. So he has a lot of great strengths, like in terms of personality wise, that add so much that, make up for the part that I lack. And I really appreciate that because that gives us the balance we need.
So tell us a little bit more about the lifestyle brand. So there's a podcast, there's merchandise. Like when you tell people this is Creator, the creative lifestyle brand, what are you presenting to people?
Well, I think Shay's vision in the beginning was kind of like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Shay.
Yeah, of course.
Like she felt that there was a brand that was missing for creative people like Shay and I and you, Sonia, where we're not like Nike, we're not like whatever else. We're more of doers and beaters of our own drums and stuff like that. And so she was looking for a brand that represented kind of our souls, creators. And she felt that it was really powerful in that way. But I think along the way, the visions kind of changed a little bit, but it's still the same vision. We still want to represent that group of people that, when you get into the mode and you can't stop painting, you're painting till like 5 or 6 in the morning, that's Creator. Those people that get up and are putting up mood boards until 2 or 3 in the morning or waking up at 5 to cut boards up and present. And the people that create ideas that aren't tangible. Ideas are ideas. And I think Creator just really is a brand to represent all those art kids, all those painters, drawers, actors, anybody in the creative field, that you have a brand that you can go to and we're authentic and we are here to represent, imagine more, go out there, take that risk. Don't be afraid to fail. We believe failure is part of the process, and you learn more actually from the failure than you do from the success sometimes.
Why is creating a space for creators so important? And, Shay and I have talked about this a lot because of our cultural backgrounds, her coming from Africa, me coming from the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. In some cultural households, the creative process is not one that's celebrated. And I've watched other people talk about it, and I've had these conversations with friends as well. Why is it important to create a space for creative talent?
I'm sorry, I don't want to take this question either, but Shay and I both being graphic designers, you don't realize, the reason that you can read, graphic designers. You wouldn't be able to read without us. We created letters. We created the shapes that you see with your eyes that you can read with. So without creativity, there would be no reading. The coding came from weavers. All these things come from creating. If there weren't people creating, you wouldn't have a computer. Coding came from people that used to weave together. It was the first coding. But we learned that from talking to other weavers on our show and learning that that's how the 011 came up with, because it's the same pattern that they use in weaving. It was easy to take that into chip and minimize it to the basic needs. So I think without creativity, you don't have chances to get cures for diseases or people trying new things, or I think it's just part of being human. I think we're all creators in some form, in some way. So really, I think it's very important to celebrate creativity. I don't think I would be here without it, to express myself and to get emotions out that I can't talk with or express, but to get out to paint and to get out and get some of that energy out. I don't think that I would be here. Life wouldn't be fun for me. It'd be pretty darn dismal.
Yeah, I think having this, I guess your question is why we found it important to have this creator space. I think it's important for people to have a community of people who understand them and who can help them, provide resources, tools. And the creative journey is not always an easy journey. For me, for many, many years, for some reason, I'm feeling emotional. I felt like the black sheep in my family. I always felt like, because I just marched the beat of my own drum, I never wanted to conform to anything. You forced me to go this direction. And I think probably I'm still the same way now. I'm going to go the opposite way. So I always felt like I was the black sheep. I'm the only one in my family with tattoos, like in my whole family. Nobody does that. So I feel like as creators, we feel sometimes alienated. Sometimes people think we're crazy. Sometimes people think we're weird for our ideas. But to know that we're not, and there are other people like us, and have that community where you feel celebrated and appreciated and that you matter and you're seen and what you do does matter and does have value, and keep pushing through and seeing the successes and failures of those like you. I think it's really important. And another big part of creators, there's so many people out in the world who create different things in different ways, but they're never seen. So it's like only a small handful of people get the visibility. But a big part of creator is to see the people who are doing amazing things. They're people who do way more amazing things than some of the people who are put out in the mainstream that are celebrated. And we want to see those people, and we want them to know they matter, and we want to share their work and to create a space where they get opportunity to make a living doing what they love, if we're able to do that. That is the goal.
A big part of creating this space, though, Sonia, too, is to connect people. We do believe that, on our show or podcast or video show or whatever you want to call it, we're creatives. We don't really fall into lines. But for us, we believe a poet can learn from a potter, and a web coder can learn from a ceramics person or a painter. I think creative processes we can learn from everybody's creative process. And we want to share that and build a community where people do feel, like Shay was saying, appreciate it. And hopefully we connect people too. Get them to connect with somebody else and they make something else great. And we were just a little catalyst that brought them together, and that's it. And just watch them flourish. And hopefully they'll share their successes with us, you know?
So it sounds like you're also trying to change the perception of what people would narrowly classify as what creativity is.
Yes, that's a big one. Because people always say, "Oh, I'm not creative. I'm not creative." And I'm like, when you figure out how you're going to decorate your living room or your bedroom, that is creativity. So people always have had this perception that creativity is just someone who paints or draws. We are creative beings. And, in the thought of creator, coming up with the name, I felt like the ultimate creator is God. And if we are made, if you're a biblical person, if we are made in the image of God, then we are creative beings too, right? So each one of us is a creator. We have the ability to create. You just need to tap into it. So we are changing the definition of what it means to be a creative person. Because I always felt like when I heard people saying, I'm not creative, but then you see them cooking. You're like, that is creativity. You see them doing the garden. That is creativity. Just because you don't paint or draw, it does not mean that you are not a creator. We are all creators.
And to that point too, let's say I'm not a painter, but I have a great idea for a painting or something else creatively, but I can't communicate it. You can still share that idea with somebody else. Why not? Why keep that coveted? Why not work with somebody and say, yeah, this is kind of the idea that I have. See if that could get developed. And why limit yourself? Because your brain is super creative, and like all creative people know this. There's a lot of times that you get something in your head, you can't do it, and you get frustrated, and you throw that idea away. Why not share it? Somebody else might be able to use it even better than you, or make it exactly how you envisioned it. You know. So I think ideas can be just as creative as the person that can actually put it down in paper and create it. Some of those people also need help with ideas, you know? So I think it's a sharing of the communal creative space, I guess.
Yeah.
As partners, how do you manage the creative process? Because a lot of times it can be very subjective. And so what is it that you feel that you do well in terms of sharing the creative process or sharing creative ideas that you would like to implement in the products and the types of models that you're going to be bringing forth?
She takes everything I do and then rips it apart. No, I'm just joking. No, not at all. Not at all. That was a big joke. She never does that. I don't know. It's weird how we work, Shay. I don't even know how to explain it. Can you do that?
Yeah, we just enjoy it. Like, it's a part of who we are. The creative process is a part of who we are. So we'll say we need to meet and we'll talk about what we need to do. In terms of ideas, yeah, we just kind of throw them at each other. Like, oh, so I was thinking we could do this. Like, we still are like little kids excited about it every time we talk about it. Like, talking about creator gives us life. Like, it's a rebirth every time we talk about it. We get that same excitement all over again. Even there are times when we don't feel like meeting, but the minute we get together and start talking about it, it just like lights up and it's magic all over again. And we're excited as if it's the first time. So you'd be like, oh, I was thinking we should do this. And I'm like, write it down. Okay, let's write it down. Okay, I was thinking we could do this. And then we build upon it. And so even the last visit, it was interesting because I said to him, where do you see creator going? Like, we were just sitting outside at the back. And I thought we were thinking the same thing of where it's going. But when you have a partner, it's important to give them the space to talk about what they think and what they view. Because sometimes you just assume you're on the same path. I'm not in his brain. So when he told me where he was seeing it going in the future, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I wasn't even thinking that far. I was just thinking of the show. So always checking in with each other is really important. We do that a lot. And then another thing that we made a pact or a promise to each other about is to nurture and preserve and protect our relationship, because our relationship is really important and it is the source of everything else. If we don't have this relationship where we just genuinely love each other and enjoy being together, then creator would literally fall apart, I think, because it's the coming together of both of us. So we said we would always make sure we make time to just be together and enjoy each other's company outside of creator. And then always make sure that we protect that relationship, and therefore we'll protect the brand itself and where it's going, and always keep that spirit alive.
I think it's important, and we had other partners talk about the same thing, like being really clear about what the relationship is. And so I'm glad that you talked about the importance, that you were very specific and clear about how you wanted to be able to protect what you have, because an argument, we all know one argument can change the dynamic of a relationship, or one different idea can change the dynamic of a relationship. And so I think that's important.
We've always said number one is our friendship and our love for each other. Number two is the business. So if the business ever got in the way of our friendship or whatever, we'd figure out a way to either one other person takes it, another person's not involved anymore, or we just dissolve it, whatever comes, we have to save our friendship and our love first for each other. So, but I think creative process wise, we don't really have so basically what we do for each season or anything that we work on is we have an idea, we bring it to the table. We do a brain dump where we just do this, and we just kind of go all over the place.
You said do this.
I guess I'm Italian, I talk with my hands a lot. So basically we'll gather pictures, we'll look at other stuff, we do a lot of research. Research, I think, is key. Sonia, I think you said that. Research is key. Do your research. So for example, when we did the coffee mug, we wanted to create this coffee mug. Right. And we still have it on the website, by the way. We have a few left. So we had interviewed all the people that we interviewed for the first season. And Samantha Buttrick is an illustrator. Amazing. You should check her out, too. So we had this mug idea, and we were just going to have create our logo on it. Right. And then Shay and I were I don't know who came up with it. I can't remember. But we're let's call Sam and see if she would take our logo, put it into her own interpretation, how she would do it. And let her create the mug. We'll work with her. And so we called up Sam and she goes, heck yeah, I'll do it. And so she did 3 concepts for us to choose from. We liked all of them. We let her pick the final one. We let her pick the color of the mug and stuff like that. And we love it. I think that one good thing about Shay and I is we don't have, I'm trying to think of the word, not cockiness, but
Ego,
yeah. I love the mug that we created with her. And it wasn't we were trying to control it or whatever. And this was, I think, harder for Shay than me. But it was, the font is not at all like this. It's all hand drawn, and it has their limited edition. They're all screen printed on the mug, and the mug's very funky. So I think it was harder for her to let go. But then when we finally got it, she was in love with it. She uses it every day. So do I. So.
Which is part of the creative process, right? Sometimes it is letting go and being open to other influences.
And to be fair, I can be stubborn as well, but I've learned in the relationship to trust. I trust him. I really trust him completely, and to let go. And it's not a possessive thing. It's not an ego thing. You really have to trust the person you're with, and there's no that's mine. That's why sometimes he doesn't even remember who came up with what idea, because we're not thinking in that way, oh, this is mine, this is yours, or I did this, or I did that. We just both are mutually invested in the brand and in what we do.
Yeah, trust and sharing credit came up often in the articles that I read in preparation for this interview. So you all seem like you are on track. I had a college professor. This is in relation to Josh's plugging, but she always said, "Always be selling," and so.
Hey,
so Josh has that down.
I learned that from you the other day. I got to brag a little bit. Got to brag.
That's right. You got to brag, right? You got to brag about what you do.
And Josh is strong about that kind of stuff. You see, so that's not something I would do, but I can count on him to just do the right thing.
You can have him to make sure.
Balances out real good. Yeah.
I forgot, Sonia, on your point right there. What did somebody tell me once? And I don't know if this is going to sound appropriate or not, but I'm going to say it anyways.
I told you guys.
So probably it's not going to be appropriate now that I said that. So somebody, I heard it, but it was if you go into something without intention, then you're smart people only do things with intention. With intention. There's always got to be intention, whether it's connecting somebody or meeting somebody or just getting your face shown or something with that. If you don't, you're done. That's what I was told. So you always should have an intention. Am I going out to, cheer somebody up? That's an intention. Am I just to go out there and do no idea? That's, I think I told you that too, Shay. I said we should always have an intention with everything we do.
Yeah. And I think for business, that's actually a really great strategy.
Yeah.
To always be intentional.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad one of us is, because 2 into time, so thanks.
Wait, so what can we expect next for Creator?
Josh, go ahead.
Let's see. Well, we have you on our second season, which I think you highlight a lot of great things about storytelling and the importance that everybody needs to know how to tell their story.
For business. For your business especially. Yeah.
Business, whoever you are, really.
Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah, it was, and I could see the chemistry between the two of you as well. So it went really well.
We got Shay to eat a double.
Right. That's right. Josh is in love with Trinidadian food and was actually able to. He got his doubles. You didn't get any roti.
I didn't get a roti,
but you got your doubles.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. Next time you come through, I'm going to take you to some other places.
Okay, when you come down to Atlanta, I'm taking you to my roti shop. And
okay, all right, and we will compare.
Okay. We'll throw down. We have an amazing dancer coming up. He does contemporary dance. He was just, I'm going to mess up the name, so I'm not going to try it, but he was just performing at the LA Contemporary Museum. The artist hung the work and he danced without any music in front of it. Very progressive dancer. He works all over the country. Actually used to live in New York. He had a show there. We also have a brand new singer that's up and coming. She writes her own lyrics. Very amazing, young, brilliant woman. Kind of has like a Clairo kind of vibe. I call it bedroom. I call it bedroom jams or something. Like it's just very like mellow and in that mood. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like
Okay.
like not sexy jams, but yeah, they can be sexy too. But they're just kind of like you could have it playing, have a conversation, you'd be kissing, and listening to it. I don't know.
Well, I think we got it, Josh. I think we're good.
So we're working. So Sonia, to answer your question, we're working on season 2. So people should look out for season 2. There's lots to learn from all the different creators we're going to have coming on, including you. To echo it, we had an amazing time with Sonia.
We have new merch coming up too.
Yes, we do.
So where can the people actually find, if they want to connect with you, if they want to buy the merchandise, if they want to buy the sexy hoodies, where would they go?
You would go to www.thecreatorlifestyle.com. And you can follow us on Instagram at The Creator Lifestyle, and on Facebook, and we're on TikTok, and are we on YouTube? Oh, YouTube, you can see all the videos. Those are great. You see the outtakes. Shay and I mess up a ton.
And iTunes and Spotify.
Oh, yes.
We're just everywhere.
The Creator Lifestyle, all one word, no spacing. You'll find us.
Oh, and if you have any people that you think have amazing work and are doing amazing work and you think that they should be spotlighted, celebrated, shown, send us an email, DM us.
Please.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, thank you both for joining me here and sharing with the audience. I know that there were a lot of takeaways. There were takeaways for me, and I know you both. Yeah. So I am very grateful to have had you on and look forward to hearing more about your successes and following the journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you,
was great.
Sonia.
The Business First podcast is hosted and produced by Sonia Aline. Associate producer, Ariel Mancibo. Executive producer, Ken Johnson. Find the Business First podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on social at business_first_podcast on IG. The Business First podcast is a Mean Old Line Media production.